Cullen, is that you? Non-glittery Robert Pattinson in Remember Me. I know that is definitely very intriguing. And I saw this movie with some friends, you know, it wasn't just me alone. I did want to see this movie, and that's because of two words, Chris and Cooper. Chris Cooper is definitely one of my favorite actors. Adaptation, American Beauty, October Sky, Breach, etc. Awesome performances in every movie he's in. Really isn't one of the big things I really liked about this movie. He's a very typical character in this movie. But this is definitely a very interesting movie. It's all over the place. Definitely very flawed, but it has some really great scenes, surprisingly. It's very slow, the pacing, it takes forever, but once the story with him and this girl, you know, gets up and, you know, gets finally moving, it is an engaging movie. You like these characters, well, they're interesting at least, you know, you do feel for them. You know, there is some really good drama. You know, Rob Pattinson has a friend who's very funny. The flaws come when stuff just gets really overdone. There are two random, pointless, and very overdone, very over-aggressive sex scenes. And one of them is so out of place that I couldn't help but laugh. Some sequences of violence that is overdone. Some of the drama, pretty overdramatic. Robert Pattinson gives a pretty good performance. He plays a pretty angry character, and there's one scene in particular where he gets a little over the top, but there are some really great scenes, and he did do a good job. You know, it's a shame that he's kind of like Zac Efron. Zac Efron gave a very good performance that I thought in 17 again. And I haven't seen Me and Orson Welles, but it looked like he also did good in that film. But you don't recognize that because you just think of the kid from High School Musical. Just like this kid will always be Edward Cullen. He gives a good performance in this movie. The story isn't too focused. There's a lot of things going on, you know. Some depth is kind of missing. Some scenes are missing, you know. Some conflicts really aren't concluded, and they're just some things you just wanted to see happen but never really did happen. But, you know, I was liking this movie. It was really good. I was, like, thinking to myself, you know, it's flawed. You know, the choppy, very, very choppy editing. Some of the editing really sucks. The direction isn't too good either. But I'm like, I don't understand. Why are the reviews so bad? This movie got one star in my local paper. I just didn't get it. I'm like, yeah, it's a flawed movie, but it's actually really good for the most part. And then the movie ended. The ending of this movie pulls off something so random, so out of place, so unexpected, and just so weird that you can't help but call it somewhat effective. You know, the title is Remember Me. I'm definitely going to remember this. It pulls off something very, very unexpected at the end. And there's nothing hinting at it throughout the film. Just all of a sudden, bam. Now, the movie does this to gain an emotional reaction. And like I said, I did care about this character. But the problem with the ending, now what actually happens in the ending could have worked. It definitely could have worked. There's a narrative at the end. And the movie, unfortunately, fails to find its voice. It fails to find what it is trying to say, what it's trying to teach through this ending. Like, what is the message? That's what I'm asking myself. It's trying to get one. It's trying to get one out there. You know, remember me, live your life to the fullest, you know. And of course, it isn't going to be anything too spectacular, but it really failed to generate, you know, a message, the point of that ending. And it just came off kind of silly. And it's kind of a good idea if you think about it, but I don't think it really fully worked in this movie. Definitely could have been a better ending. This movie had some really, really good parts. Some really good drama. Even some funny parts. Yeah, they don't completely focus on some of the interesting aspects of the story. But I didn't find myself bored. Like I said, the movie's really slow. It seems like it goes on forever. But I was really interested in these characters. I did like the love story for the most part, except for those really stupid sex scenes. Just kind of needed to be more with the involvement of Chris Cooper, because the only reason he asks this girl out is because he wants to get back at Chris Cooper, you know, for arresting him, and, you know, that's his daughter. But they never really do much with him, and, you know, there's tension between him and Pierce Brosnan, who plays his father. And finally, there's depth to that, but I just kind of wanted more of that. A lot of it's just between him and this girl, but the girl does a good job, and there's good chemistry there, so it worked. So overall, very flawed film. A lot of people aren't going to like it, but go out and see it, although the ending will probably lose you. But I'm actually going to remember the stuff I really liked about this movie. I'm going to look past the pretty ridiculous ending. So I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. You know, it is actually a... Why are people shouting? But it is a good movie. Surprisingly. I know, you know, Edward Cullen, but it's a good movie. It's, the ending, what the heck? 7.5 out of 10. I forgot to mention there's a trailer for Eclipse.